I did read the book. Justin and I figured out something that worked. It was slower than usual. Oh, sorry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back for another meeting of the Appendix N Book Club, where tonight we are going to talk about Gardner F. Fox's The Barbarian Swordsman.
Story one.
Story one, right? The
Dear
sword and
God,
the
this book
sorceress,
needed editing.
the sword and the sorcerer. Okay, that's okay. That's fine. I'm going to finish reading the Treasure in the Labyrinth and the Woman in the Witchwood tomorrow, next day, something like that. But the deal was we were just going to read the first story, see what we
Justin
thought.
waves kind of goes, on when I said editing. No, it was at least half as bad, if not 3/4 as bad as Faced in the Frost Force editing. Oh, the blade doesn't have magic. It's cursed. I thought you said it didn't have magic. Oh, it doesn't. But it's
Well,
cursed.
like I think he meant by that by like it didn't have any advantages in that. That's why it was immediately caveated right away. But
Yeah.
there were a lot of like $5 words and things like that. You
Yeah,
know
there were
what I
some
mean?
words I'd never heard before. Excuse me. Funny thing is, uh, Bubba did a video earlier this morning. I don't know if you saw it, and he was talking about Dragon Magazine 1, I believe, that was essentially nothing but short stories. And the one he mentioned was by Gardner F. Fox. Now we
Yeah.
know why he was in Appendix N, because I believe Dragon Magazine back then was referring to White Box. So maybe they knew him. Not sure how that went, but clearly, this is a 1970 book. Gave him 7 years to get in good with Gygax and Arneson or something like that, or vice versa, and become enmeshed in the Dungeon Master's Guide. So I want to hear how you were able to read the book, because I was kind of bummed you weren't going to be here for that part of it. Just me and Justin, talking about this book, because Omen couldn't make it either, and I know he read it. But he had a work thing, so life, blah blah blah.
Well, Justin sent me a file that I could use the word reader for the word program I use for writing books. It has a built-in AI reader. So Justin sent me a file I could use with that.
I had a feeling
It's
that's
slower than YouTube, because at least YouTube I can turn up the speed, and it's crappy compared to an actual read book, but at least I could understand it.
Yeah.
okay. I'm glad to hear it. Oh, sheesh.
Yeah, I have a long time. Like people know, like I'm also dyslexic, but mine's more triggered. The more tired I am, the harder it is for me to read. Obviously, like that's for normal people the same way, but combined my severe insomnia with dyslexia,
Yeah.
it can be fairly bad. So that's why I have knowledge of this stuff, because I use them
I
too
thought
when
you.
I have these problems. Um, yeah, my vision never gets blurry. It's just the type of dyslexia I have is used to be referred to as audiophonic disorder. I think they've changed the name of it since then. Uh, but like I have trouble
Sit, sit,
tracking the sounds to the
sit.
symbols. The most common is like the
Stop.
letters look backwards and move
Sit,
around on you. I don't have that
sit,
problem. Uh,
Yeah, I don't
but
got a common one either.
sit.
My issue is
Good point.
words will be. I'll expect words to be certain things, and then they're not, and then I can't read it because it completely bonfoozles me.
Yeah, that's pretty standard from what I understand. Like up there with the moving around and shit like that. But yeah,
Well,
no.
look, his mind where he wants to hang out.
Side note. So
Sure.
so I just said I'm not going to let this hinder me when I need to do stuff. I'm just going to like find tech.
Find a
Just step
technological
over it.
solution.
Yeah, which has helped.
Yeah, clearly. You've done some pretty cool things over the time I've known you. You've done some pretty dumb things too, but
I
this,
love doing dumb things. They're
I,
dumb.
right. But they're funny, and I assume half the time it's just your sense of humor is
Well, it's either a sense of humor or spite, one or the other.
I haven't seen a lot of Spite.
No, there's spite. There's always spite. Everything comes from spite.
I could be that way, but I'm trying not to. It's a new year, and trying to.
This is my spite face.
Yeah, that's your regular face. Who are you kidding? Um, so
um,
on to the topic at hand. I like the book. It was very reminiscent of Conan. I mean, not just the style and all that, but I mean literally, the barbarian walks into a freaking tomb, and there's a freaking skeleton, lich, warrior, whatever, with a sword. I'm like, oh my god, what
Yeah,
did you
well,
do?
that could have been toned down. The lich should not have been so ridiculously powerful. Yes, liches are powerful, but right at the beginning of the story, that was too much. He should have just been able to charm what's his name, hand him the sword, and say go at them, and he just slaughters them when they show up.
Uh,
well,
Or he when he paralyzes, yeah, I prefer not to paralyze him, but because that just shows, oh, I'm super powerful. It should have been a charm spell where it's like he feels that he no longer feels in danger. He knows this is not his natural state, but for some reason he can't resist going closer.
I think a charm might have dulled his edges and things like that, and he wanted to keep him like berserker rage still going. Um,
mhm.
as opposed to just like you're under my control, you love me, that sort of thing. That was just, and not to mention, you know, uh, this was pre Dungeons and Dragons, so it was still fantasy literature with no hint whatsoever of D&D, and maybe there hadn't been enough fantasy literature for the author to have exposed himself to other than the things that existed but never became popular, unlike
Well, this character literally exists for Fox to have his own Conan character.
right in every shape of the word, other than demeanor. I thought this character was a lot nicer, and less grim, more of a
You only read
happy-go-lucky.
the first one so far?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, it's the same here, but I assume it's because it's the first one.
he,
And
he definitely seemed more less grim and morose.
there's less depth in the writing,
Sure.
and it's made up with like I said, $5 words.
Mhm.
Um,
Words that stopped being used 100 years prior
well,
to the writing of this.
they're boutique words even then.
What was it? The one word wield or whatever, referring to grass or swarth and things like that. That just
Yeah,
outside of
Yeah.
Ireland, I don't think, or Scotland maybe I don't think they were being used, you know, for a good long time,
yeah.
easily since maybe the 30s and 40s. But I just guessing.
It's
I'll
funny
put
because shortly after I finished, I watched a video. I will send it to you later by a
okay.
guy, like one of the writing channels I watched that was literally about like words and types of words that you should try to avoid, and like every single one was used in this story,
I can
like
believe
on
it.
every other page, just
Mhm.
because. Well, every other paragraph, more accurately, uh, at least one of them was broken. Uh, it's just things that are like uh, fuck. There's a term for it, like subjective clauses or time labeling, right?
Mhm.
Things that are like words you insert in there to lengthen the word count are you should remove in order to bring down the word count, right? Like the example in the video was sit down, right? I don't. This is not in the book, but like you don't need to put the word down when saying a character is sitting down. All it does is pad the word count. You would say it in common speak, but it diminishes the reading experience when you add that extra bit in there. Or like suddenly the gun was shot was another one used. Like putting the time modifier of suddenly in there diminishes the suspense of the gun going off, right? You know, and there's a
Okay.
lot of that kind of lot of that kind of stuff in this story where if the practice of writing was a little more like clinically developed,
For the time,
which yeah for the time like this was the 60s, right? 69 I think this book came
I thought
out,
it
the
was
story.
70, but still.
Yeah, close enough. um
But yeah,
the
because there was kind of a slump with fantasy writing from the 50s to the 70s, I want to say.
Yeah,
It's sort of not that it fell out of favor, it's just that uh, other genres kind of were a little more popular than this, and this one sort of, went the way of the pulps for a little while until the new wave of science fiction and fantasy was a thing, which I think it was actually a thing before the new wave of music, which may be where
yes.
the phrase came from, which I'm perfectly fine with that.
And you know what the new wave was literally authors taking the genre seriously and putting like quality writing techniques to the same stories. That's literally what it was.
Mhm.
uh there's some
Well, actually,
author was like, I'm
when
sick and
was
tired of
when
being treated like a hack, so I'm not going to write hack material,
when did Dune come out? Was 66?
something like that. But
Mm.
that was on that was not the cutting edge of the new wave. That was the height of the new wave.
You think so?
Yeah, like that. He wasn't the first one to start do better writing. I watched a thing on it last year. I would not be able to find it to send to you though.
Yeah, no worries. I was just curious because I told you I seen that video where Zelazny, my favorite author, had to
Yeah,
share the Hugo with Dune for his book This Immortal, and to
I
be
saw
on,
that video too. Got guys sitting in front of two bookshelves.
I think so.
Yeah, and they're like
And to be
rickety.
honest, I love This Immortal. It's a good story, but
Yeah,
and
bunk
it's not that
compared to.
it's just shorter, and it makes its point really quick. You know,
Mhm.
this guy's been around forever, and the aliens come, and they figure that he's the best guy to be in charge of Earth because
Uh,
he's been around.
I thought the, the aliens were dominating humanity through like just being better,
Yeah,
and he was a curator of some museum or something, and
yeah,
they made him give him a tour. So some poet made him give him a tour. You know your bitch made when a poet makes you do shit.
yeah. Well, it was like I said,
Uh,
1966, and I haven't read it since about 86.
yeah,
So I don't remember too many details. I just remember I like the original title better, like Call Me Conrad or something like that, than This
yeah,
Immortal. And the art for the cover was lame, and it was a nice
yeah.
short story, but it was no Dune.
I would not be surprised if it was communism propaganda or whatever that made the editors want to change the name. You know, because Call Me Conrad sounds a lot like Call Me Conrad.
Could be.
Yeah. Comrade. Kameraden. If I was, if I was running a Hungar joke, it would be Kameraden. That's how you say it in German. Yeah, but yeah, I thought there was a real sense of like a lack of adventure in the story. Really, is more like, and then this happened, which is like another thing you want to avoid.
From
He's given his quest, and then he just goes and does it. And
Yeah, and then when he gets to the magic part, oh, by the way, we're just going to teleport him to the other side of the battlefield or to the other side of the story.
yeah,
right, that was kind of weak, but at the same time, I think he was trying to throw in some magic for the guy that he had saved, which was really brutal when you think about it. That poor
yeah,
wizard, flayed alive, but he couldn't die, so he's just sitting there twisting in the wind,
screaming.
literally. That was pretty brutal. I really did enjoy, but was
That
perplexed
was
at the end.
cool, but it could have been like done better.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure even Gardner Fox could have done it better. I don't know anything else by him by name because I've probably read or seen something he's written or done.
Well, there's more of his stuff on the list, so there's that.
Well, the
And I
rest of
think
this series and then another one that's
I
also
think
about a
I think
barbarian.
a big part of his inclusion must have been on a personal level. They knew him well enough to put him in Dragon magazine, and he was still alive, unlike Howard. And they wanted their own, kind of Conan writer, in the bullpen maybe. But did anybody else have a problem with the first it's a slug? Oh, now the slug's dead. Now here comes the real worm or sea serpent. It was like he was calling the slug the serpent, which was fine, and then it turns out no, that wasn't it, and now you got to kill the serpent too. And it seemed like he killed the serpent easier than he killed the slug, and I'm like,
Oh, well, he technically didn't kill the serpent easier. It's just the fact there was less combat to it, and there was no consequences to him fighting it like there was with the slug.
Yeah,
He didn't get hit by any acid or didn't
which
get bit or
which is
anything like
another
that.
thing. If you guys aren't familiar with, one of the very first encounters Conan has with a creature that's not a human is a giant freaking slug, and
I
it's
did
still
not
like
know that.
Yeah, well, the part that bugged me is that bugged me the most. I do it admittedly from the worm to the slug to the dragon. It's like, really, is that slug like it's young? What the fuck's it doing in the
and
same
then
kid?
and then I did
Anyway,
not
It's a snack.
appreciate that the slug was apparently smarter than the serpent, so smart that it created damn near perfect.
Illusions.
Right.
We're the,
yeah.
the psychic. Okay, so this is like I'm trying to figure out what the fuck you're talking about. A slug. I missed this. I don't know. Maybe I skipped a paragraph. Looking at it last night, but I remember the part with the illusions, the treasure. It had the
Yeah.
psychic defense or whatever, and it's like it's. I thought that section was weak, right? Like it
It was
was.
retarded. It kind of was retarded. It should have been
Yeah.
the serpent that did that, if anything.
You could have cut the slug out
Yeah.
altogether and just made it like
A dragon.
you could have had the dragon like stalking him around the cavern,
Hmm.
right? Create
Yeah.
more rooms and
Because
flush
because
out the
with
environment.
all those bones, there had to be treasure.
Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah.
that would
I
have
think
also, sorry TCG, that would have also expressed the magic of the sword as the curse, that the sword was causing it to vaporize
Or
instead
or
of it
just
being an
or just
illusion.
or even better than that, maybe, that he would have to leave it behind because he can't own it.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty jacked up D&D curse. You can't, if you want to own me, can't own anything else.
Yeah. Or,
Well, there's that. Well, then
Or even
sorry, you were
he
gonna say something, Justin.
manages to fill a bag, but it gets torn or lost on his way out of the cave because
Yeah, that I would have accepted
yeah,
more.
just because like or he
Or should I
opens
say
it
I
up
accepted
and
at all?
the sword has like turned into coal or whatever. Um,
Yeah. But two things that bug me. Well, like I said, that he claims the sword's not magical from the very beginning. When later on, the when he's fighting the magic panther, the sword sparks, and the book even says the magic in the sword. Oh,
okay, yeah,
that's
yeah,
worse than thinking and editing. And the thing that it bugged me in the cave, he fucking named the slug, and yet he was stupid enough to get hit by the acid or whatever the fuck that attack was. He
Well,
names what the slug is, which means he knew how to fucking fight it,
yeah,
and yet he was stupid enough to get
well,
hit by its attack.
you're in a fight. It's not an intelligence thing. You know, you get hit by something because
Well, no,
you
no, no.
slip
Well, yeah,
or
but he's a
miss.
barbarian. He should like it's going to spit this at me, and not necessarily in the intelligence way, but he's a barbarian. They actually explain later he fights by instincts, which saves his butt in the same exact manner as it should have with the fucking
Yeah.
worm, especially with the fact he knew what it was, which means he should knew its attack, and he should have
It's
instinctually been able to
yeah.
dodge it because he knew it was going to do
No,
it.
you don't instinctively dodge something because you know it can do it. Like but that's not how fighting works. But still, yeah, like if it feels
See,
like a right hand, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
going for real world term. I'm not going for our
But you
world.
have to have
What
consequences in literature, or it just feels like having everything be a wish
yes,
fulfillment is what makes things bad writing.
yes, as you would if you would let me
Yeah.
finish. Later on, they specifically call out his instincts to avoid that said exact type of danger.
Okay.
They call it out later on. And that's what saves his life too, is his instincts to sense that
Yeah.
kind of danger.
Which is more like plot armor in that sense. You want your
Yeah, but
protagonists to
it's
get hit
inconsistency.
because if they don't get hit, what's the point of them being there? I felt like out through the story he wasn't getting hit enough by things,
Mm-hmm.
like not necessarily seriously hurt, but everything felt like
Pro, uh,
he went up to it. He
Problem
had
is
a minor
just about everything he yeah.
like it barely even had to
There's a
dodge anything and then was victorious like
Well, the thing there is everything that was said against him, which I definitely don't like. Everything said against him. If it hit him, it killed him. One shot, no defenses, no saving throw. You
yeah,
died.
well,
Yeah, he
yeah,
was a little too coated in plot armor, Kothar, that is.
yeah,
Um,
like even
I mean, the
Conan took
fight with the guys
damage.
outside was a perfect chance for him to get a few smacks in on
Yeah,
me. But no, he just I can stride 10 feet in a single
yeah,
bound.
a little too
What?
superman-y, um which
mhm.
works if like the purpose of your character is to be a moral symbol and not like a combat thing, but
or yeah,
yeah,
or a more or less happy-go-lucky, wine, women, and song,
yeah,
everyman kind of character, which he was, but he was also, Superman.
yeah, a
He
little
I mean, he
too
did get
superman.
wounded here and there, but it was just
Like TV
No,
show
actually he didn't.
wounds.
Shadow?
He's got a broken arm in scene
Shadow?
one, and then it's healed in scene two. Sorry, go man.
uh
Yeah, he's wounded in scene 1. He gets spit on by the worm, which, given the explanation of his instincts later, was
Yeah,
bullshit. And then he never gets hit at all.
yeah.
uh
And like,
Like
sorry,
instincts or not, the guy fighting 12 guys, he should have gotten hit.
Oh my God!
yeah,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I was looking it up because um, in Dungeons and Dragons, we're just going to go here. Um, Metals, enchanted weapons and armor and that sort of thing, +3 are always made from a special. meteorite, iron, steel. +4 is always mithril alloy, and +5 is adamantine. So clearly,
Yeah.
the item was a +3 sword. Okay, let's go with that, which is a kind of a big deal in D&D. Even though personally, I think +3 is only a
Oh no,
15% chance.
no. He specifically said he made this from. He did not make this from a space metal. He made it from a very rare metal on the planet. Heated it in the
I
center of
could
the
have
planet
sworn
and
it was.
cooled
He
it on
did
the highest
say
peak.
that it was, a rock that fell from the sky.
Mm,
I don't remember
I
that,
do.
but
That's why I brought this up because I remember that distinctly. Because I'm like, okay, so that means it's a +3 or 4 weapon. Okay, cool. Now,
yeah.
uh,
+3 or 4. That weapon, if that's really a +3 or 4, that thing has other abilities besides just being
Well,
a
you
bonus.
also got to take into account when it was written, bro. Like,
before magic items had pluses.
well, before they were a thing.
Well, no, I'm saying if you're going to compare it to D&D purposes, it's a fucking +6 or something like that.
It
I
depends
don't
on what level.
know.
It depends on what level fighter he was. That the math
Yeah.
is not what I was getting at. It was the enchantments because I was thinking of it as a. There's a weapon called a plus.
What
Well,
enchantments? The blade has no
Right.
magic.
But I was thinking of it. I don't know
yeah.
if you guys know what a +4 defender is. A +4 defender is a weapon that you can use its plus on either to attack or your armor class or your defense. So it could be like magically helping him parry, which would explain maybe why 12 guys couldn't lay a hand on him because his armor class, according to D&D,
Eh.
would be what? Dexterity +1 or 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Therefore, not a very high armor class, and unless they were, first level yahoos, and he's a, fifth or
Yeah.
sixth level fighter, which is fine.
Well, let's just put it this way: when this guy rolled, he got max stats on everything, and for some reason was allowed to put extra numbers on dexterity than like intelligence and comeliness or whatever.
Something to that
Like,
effect. I don't
you
think he
know,
Yeah.
had. I don't think he had over
Oh yeah.
18s in anything, and he may have technically
he
had
had
some
a
15.
32 in fucking dexterity after the fucking sword.
Yeah,
I'll agree.
maybe. I would go maybe 25, but
And
even then, that's
and like speaking of things like his intelligence, that's actually probably the my favorite part of the book was the fact he wasn't stupid, which is also on the same hand the most annoying part of the book. He's a fucking barbarian. Why is he as smart as the fucking wizard? Easily.
well.
Well,
I don't know that he was.
Like, and not just smart, not just like smart. He's fucking book smart with the way he talks. It's like he knows what he's talking about, even though he's talking to a wizard.
yeah, well, you could have like barbarians that were educated. That's a misnomer.
Right.
But
Really?
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
it's like
I mean, you got to realize,
don't
you got to
forget
look at it like this way.
it's propaganda.
Books for everybody were rare. So if someone had a book, they'd probably hang on to it and use it to teach their kids. And here's a real quick math thing: barbarians in the original D&D actually got double the dexterity bonus. So if he had an 18 dex, instead of getting -4 on his armor class, he'd be getting -8 or +8, depending on how you look at the numbers.
Calculate it. Yeah.
So it would actually he wouldn't need to have a super high dex above 18 to get that kind of bonus, but it was just too much plot armor. I mean, right off the bat, I mean, looking at the chapters, there's 3 chapters. Well, he ain't gonna die in this book, so you got to kind of suspend your disbelief in
Well,
that.
there are five chapters in the story, and I was satirical yesterday when I said like there was one scene per chapter. It's just that
Uh,
they blend together so smoothly, or at least it felt that way to me reading it. There's
uh,
like 6 scenes in the first chapter or something like that. Uh, but it's like that. There's no real like like there's it's the same location, the same characters in the same time frame, so it could very well be the same scene for a good chunk of it. um he really needed like a sidekick, right? Like there's a lot of parts where he's just talking to
Oh,
himself, which
Yeah.
is okay for a little
Yeah.
bit, but he needed
Well,
a Aeolus or whatever from Hercules.
yeah. Well, there
Full
we get
blown.
into something that I thought we were going to get that for the second book. I figured when he, which I think was stupid, captured the witch, I
Oh, the
figured
second
he was going
chapter.
to demand to the queen, "Hey,"
Yeah.
I figured he would not second to that when he captures the witch at the last chapter.
Oh, yeah. You said second book. So only one
Yeah,
story.
Yeah,
Red
I thought
Lori.
she
What
was
a
going to
dumb
be in the
name,
second
right?
book.
And she's
Yeah, well,
reoccurring through the
hold on, let me
entire
finish.
series.
Yeah, and here's
Okay.
the thing. I thought when he captured her alive, I thought she was going to be the sidekick for the second book. I thought he was going to say, "Oh, by the way, I want her as my slave."
Oh no, I knew there was going to be nothing like that. And
Oh, that would have made that. I think that would make the ending of the story much
If she
better.
was bound to
Not so
him,
much as a happy
that
ending.
would be
Yeah,
that would be funny. That's like a story you could write there, where
yeah,
she's like bound to him through magic or something, and then maybe you could like even have like a growing love hate relationship that becomes something
something.
yeah.
more.
That's what I thought we were going to get. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, that at least that plot hook's kind of interesting. No, I'm just going to curse you and haunt you and blah 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 blah
Well,
blah.
that's a redhead for
Okay,
you.
you kept this
That's
bitch
just a redhead
alive
for
for
you.
what reason? Yeah, I'm just saying. You kept it like when he says when it comes up, "Oh, I can't kill her. She's a
Uh,
woman." Oh my, even I do not like killing females in video games or in
no, you
RPGs, but I
drive
fucking
over
do it.
them with your car like a good player of Grand Theft Auto.
Hey, I just said I'd still do it. And that's exactly what happened there. She doesn't see me. She's all distracted. Okay,
Swoop.
go put sword. Wonk. Yep,
Yeah,
that'd have been it. That's all
like
I
our
would have
good
done.
buddy, the fuck, I'm spacing on his name now. The
Yeah, and
the
then
the Cars guy. Fuck,
yeah,
Shadow. What's his fucking name?
From what? Riku Kasich?
He's in our D&D game and lives in Ireland.
Armstrong.
Armstrong. Armstrong. I was thinking more Warhammer. Yes, our good buddy Armstrong from our D&D game. He's always walking up behind someone with his character and taking his sword in two hands and shoving it fucking down the back of their head. That's what he should have done in this book. Just fucking
yeah.
So
sword
did
through
you
the
guys,
neck
That's
hole to the stomach hole. The holes being the ones you create with your sword because they weren't there before.
so did you guys hate the book? Was it the worst one
I
yet?
liked it. I was like on a scale.
actually yes. I would have to say this book had a lot of bad parts. I mean, it had potential. It wasn't so lack of potential that it was bad, but it was so lack of potential it wasn't good either. But I still
Okay.
Yeah,
liked it.
like there.
Compared to some of the other books we've already read, this was pretty good.
Yeah, me
Um,
too. Me too. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly
right.
enjoyed the actual process of sitting down and reading an actual book. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed just that. Even though my book is like warped, can you see this shit?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's
So,
in
Yeah.
such good condition. Other than that, and I'm gonna have to just press the hell out of it. But
well, put it on a shelf between two other books, and it'll be fine.
right,
But that book there, that's the size. Like when I start writing fantasy books, they're going to be that size. One story though,
mm,
they're going to be that. Fuck
yeah.
you.
I can
That's
see
big
going.
enough. None of this fucking crap.
Yeah, I can see going the full 200, uh, or as close to 191 as I can because that's just like a uh, kind of a
Uh,
lucky number for me.
Two fifty, pushing it.
Yeah, I don't want to go that far because then why don't I just write the second book? You know,
No,
uh,
no.
sorry, but you
Second
know
book's another book.
that's what I mean. Writing it
You
literally.
pay a different price for it.
No, that's
You
literally
sell that
yes,
separately.
exactly. That's what I meant by second book.
Yeah,
Not book. I don't like books within books.
yeah.
That just seems like old fashioned and not something I want to be part of. Just so that sorry if you guys like my writing, you're gonna buy, you're gonna pay for the covers. Just saying.
Yeah, you're going to give me another $8.99. and Amazon's going to send you another 250 pages.
This one was 75 cents first printing.
Yeah, well, we don't
I,
Wow.
live in
I
fucking
know, but it just seems so.
1830 anymore.
I just I know there's a huge difference between what that means now and back then, but I still feel like whatever 75 whatever the equivalent of now still wouldn't be the price we're paying. You know what I mean?
Yes, this is
I
true.
think I think books have been turned into a luxury that they shouldn't be. Back in the old days, yes, for a lot of people it was a luxury, but on average, the publishers wanted to get them out and wanted them to be. They wanted to print more than were worried about. Making bilking the customer for an extra 10 or 20%.
No, you got to understand between let's say 1930 and more 1940 and 1980, maybe 85. That's the cheapest books have ever been in human history,
Yeah,
and most of that was due to the low quality of paper that was used.
sure.
And there's a reason why we don't use that paper anymore. We talked about that on my show
Yeah, it doesn't
yesterday, I
it
believe.
doesn't last.
It doesn't last. And it was also a lot thinner too, right? So um, it's not just that we use a higher quality paper now. We also use a thicker stock of paper because it's more psychologically pleasing to the reader, and that's the sole reason why you pay for it. You pay for
I can see
something that
that.
is generally considered more comforting in the hand, also durable. Um, yeah,
So, did you guys have a favorite character?
it would have to be Kothar because he was like the only character. Maybe the wizard
Yeah,
guy,
I'd
just
have
because it was cool that he was skinless for most of the story.
Uh huh. Okay.
uh
Mm,
trying to think a favorite character. Yeah, like Justice says, there's really only one character. I mean, if I was to say a favorite character outside of Kothar, it would actually have to be the Serpent.
the serpent. I don't.
It was more interesting than pretty much every other character
I
in
I
the
I,
book.
I kind of took a shine to Alpha just
The
because.
queen.
Yeah, she was kind of
You
clever.
were going to
Even if
rape
she was in it
me.
so briefly.
She
Oh,
was kind of clever. Using her feminine wiles. Even at the end, I was like, I like this character where she knew she's giving him all this freaking rewards. You're a prince, you get all this shit, and she made a side bet knowing that he was going to turn it down so he could keep the damn sword.
I would have given up the sword. The sword was not that worthwhile,
I was kind of right there with you. Other than the fact
and it
that
had a stupid name.
Frostfire,
Yeah,
ah, it would have been a cool name if it had some frost or fire effects. Just saying, you
yeah.
know. Uh,
I'll give you that.
and they're
But that is stupid.
Well, its name's supposed to be derived from how it was made. It was
yep,
birthed. It was forged in the heart of the planet's fire, and then dipped
yep.
in the mountain, dipped in snow, cooled in snow from the highest peak on the mountain, highest peak of the mountain on the world that was so high an air element had to take it to the top. Yeah, because no one else could survive there. Dear God,
What is that?
just is
It's a
going to explode.
timer. It's a timer.
Oh, okay. Um,
And
but
that's
yeah, she
preset.
was for me. She was smart. She seemed smarter or at least wiser than the wizard. The lich was cool. I actually liked him because he was so freaking old that just that he did he seemed like while being a lich he didn't seem like an evil lich. You know what I mean? More of a like
I don't
yeah,
remember
I'm
the
over that.
character.
I'm over that whole evilness or goodness, uh, or not necessarily over the evil, but maybe even a good character because he wasn't going to divulge the information and he was going to set him on the right path to
Yeah,
in fact you know uh, try to kill an evil witch which she needed to die, but at the same time, I knew she wasn't going to die, and I knew she was going to show up later. I could just feel it because the writer didn't have enough characters showing up in the story. You can name them all on one hand. So I'm like,
Well, I couldn't, but that's only because they left so little impression in me that I couldn't be bothered to care what their fucking names were.
well, there was the Lich, Alpha, Kothar, the Sorceress, and the
Oh,
Wizard.
yeah,
That's
Yeah,
it.
you're not even naming most of them.
you didn't name the witch or the wizard.
Yeah, I did.
No. You mentioned them,
You
but you didn't use their names.
Oh, because I
Same with
can't
the
remember them.
witch. Like I said,
exactly.
they're so memorable. I can't
Well,
remember
no,
their names.
no. Let me rephrase
Red
that.
Glory is the witch, but
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, that was a dumb name, but the Lich's name and the Wizard's name were impronounceable. I didn't know how to pronounce them. It's like reading the
yeah.
Silmarillion.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of ancient, that bugged me. Where mankind has gotten so old that somehow we have forgotten our past. Like somehow technology has been destroyed, and no one has
Well, it's
remembered.
not
Like
Earth,
what?
right? Like,
Well, no,
did
no.
you read the prologue
Yes,
or
I
listen
read the
to the
entire
prologue?
prologue.
Okay,
They are on another planet. I get that.
yeah,
I totally
yeah,
understand
yeah.
that. But they would have had to come here with massive amounts of technology, unless they
Yeah.
abandon their technology,
Well,
which they
there had to have
wouldn't,
been
even
some
with
sort of
magic.
there was some sort of galactic cataclysm, right? So we're
Oh,
in the
I might have missed that part.
post warp era of humanity, right? Like the
Okay.
chaos gods have romped forward
Well,
and
I got the
smashed
fact that they
everything
made
down to
the that they awoken the gods and all that, but
yeah.
apparently I missed that there was a cataclysm. Okay, that's a different story. I thought it was
Yeah,
It's between the lines, bro. You have to
okay.
kind of assume it.
yeah.
Oh,
It was definitely, definitely gave off some kind of Thunder the Barbarian inspirational vibes. I can see that.
But it's older
I
than
honestly,
Thunder.
I think it was John Jakes who did Brack the Barbarian. Did it better. That story I liked a lot more than this one. I will definitely finish this one, but then I'll probably go grab Brack the Barbarian and finish that series, or something else. Maybe go back to Gore.
Well,
Uh,
so
um, well, we've got 2 weeks for you to do that in.
right.
Please, no one pick the next book in the series.
ever.
Well, we can do it in like 6 months or a year or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I'm in no hurry, and I don't know that anybody else is in a big hurry to go down this road with us. Maybe Omen liked it more than we did, but
uh,
say
I'm just saying he made some excuse about having to go to work uh, at 9 at night. So
well, no, it wasn't it was a retirement party, I think.
I don't fucking care. He made some excuse about having to go to work at 9 at night.
That's fair. Did you guys have a least favorite character of the five?
I
One
don't
that you,
know. It could have been maybe Brack,
I mean,
or Crack, or whatever the
if
fuck
I was
his
really
name
going to say
is.
a least favorite character, that would be your favorite character, Shadow's husband. Because even though you didn't see him or hear of him throughout the entire book, he was in chains for betraying the queen. It's like,
oh yeah. You're right.
okay,
Yeah.
if he's going to betray his wife, I don't like the dude.
That's fair because I forgot totally about him. But honestly, my least favorite character was Kothar. He was two dimensional, too Dudley Do
Yeah.
Right. Uh,
I say you're giving him too much credit. You're giving
right.
him a whole extra dimension than he actually had.
So one
Maybe
dimension.
less.
He
Yeah,
was like a shadow.
He was 0.5 of a dimension.
He was like a shadow of Conan, but in broad daylight.
Only half of a shadow of Conan. There's like literally a line running down where the shadow should be, and it's
He's
just
just a
like this
silhouette.
is not
oh,
here.
I mean, he was just you could do better and enough.
And somebody with crayon drew on red hair, blonde hair.
He was uh, like the character I'm working on now. I want him to be more flawed then perfect. I'm trying to write some flaws in there because I think that's more interesting. Like
Yeah.
Grey Mouser and Fafford were more interesting than this guy. You know what I mean? They had because of their flaws, not because they were, great swordsmen and great rogues.
I
Yeah.
I,
But
I
because,
like I like Grey Mouse and Fafford right up to the point that as teenagers, they believe they found the love of their life, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're for absolutely no fucking reason gonna break the knife of the guy who killed our women, and then we're gonna walk away, not in fear, not in that we can't handle this, in the oh okay we've done we have nothing better to do. Bye.
um,
What?
Yeah.
Now, if they had
I,
been
I
retreating
didn't, I
because they
didn't,
were
I didn't get
smart
that.
and they
I
couldn't
didn't.
take on the fucking guild, then I would have gotten that.
Yeah.
I
I think
got
there
it
was more
more
going on
like
there.
they needed a break.
You just closed that door and somebody opened it back up again.
That was
That
Chewy both times. That's Chewy every time.
okay. Well, he's an asshole and he should know better.
He is an asshole, but he hates being alone, and this is the only place he knows he can come in and get some attention. Everywhere else he goes, he gets kind of ignored. They'll pet him for a minute, but then they go back to doing whatever they're doing, and he just if he's going to be alone with another person, he'd rather be alone with me, I guess,
Yeah.
because we're together
Surprised they
all
don't
day.
look at him with hungry eyes.
But uh,
Man, that's my line. Stop stealing my racist jokes.
did you have a character you
Oh
hated,
wait,
Justin?
wrong nationality.
There were characters to hate.
Yeah.
What is happening?
What? Uh, yeah, you got some warble in your mic. Um, is Doc still around? Maybe we should just let Doc in. He can tell us what characters he liked and didn't like.
I can't tell, Doc, if you're in there. Once for yes, twice for no, because we
Yeah,
just lost Crafty.
yeah, he's restarting.
That's fine.
Um,
That's probably
hopefully he comes back. We need him for emotional support. There he is.
I don't know, my connection went a little funky for some reason.
it. So
Yeah.
you didn't have a character you hated.
Well, like honestly, there weren't enough with any depth to like have I
Real opinion.
Kothar and the wizard.
See,
Same fucking answer I gave.
oh yeah,
last time.
it's like the husband. I only hate him on principle. I don't have any other reason to hate him. It's because there's
Yeah.
and the rest of the characters. Well, you don't know enough about them to hate them.
Well, like even still, like I couldn't say the husband because he tried to overthrow his wife's kingdom or whatever, or did she try to overthrow his? Like it was.
True, you're not.
I don't know who started that fight or why it was.
Kothar
took
says
place.
she's the rightful ruler, but that's
Yeah.
what
How does
Kothar
he
says.
know? Maybe it's just because he
Yeah.
wanted to bang her. You know?
Yeah. How do I know? Like 6 months earlier, she didn't overthrow Red Laura's kingdom.
What a
Huh?
dumb name too, right? Red Lori.
Well, I think her name's Lori and she's a redhead. So that's the only reason why she named that.
But yeah, but it just doesn't roll off the tongue. It's almost like, kind of forced.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any sort of poetry or symmetry to the name.
I don't have any light.
It was just like, what? You're kidding me, right? That's your bad guy. That's like a cheesy superhero character. You know what I mean?
Well, this guy did write a fuck ton of comic books, so
Did he? Okay, that explains a lot. I
like,
forgot. I
that's
remember
his
you saying that,
mainstay.
but I forgot about that.
Like a fuck ton of really cheesy like Marvel comics and DC shit.
Mhm.
Like
Okay.
there's a reason
Don't
why
say those too much. You might summon Bear.
he won't show up because I'm here.
I know. I'm being a smartass.
Yeah, but look, like, we were talking about what should I call it? Folding, diamond. Is it diamond?
Yeah, yeah.
Diamond folding. But I was going to mention this the other day. You know that American comics are still dominant in the American comic market. Like 70% of the market
Sure.
is still sold by American produced comics.
Right.
It's just you gotta they're being sold through Scholastic and shit like that.
Really, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, well, that's who the primary distributor for Bone is.
For what is?
Bone, the little white guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't know that was
Eh,
still a thing.
yeah, well, I know I think they're done, but like that's that style of comic book that
Oh, it's like in
makes
syndication or something.
well, it's not just that. It's like other authors doing their like boutique projects.
Gotcha.
Um, like I guess Elf or whatever that one that's by that chick and her I guess ex
Oh,
husband now.
ElfQuest, Wendy and
ElfQuest, yeah, Wendy,
Beanie or
who
whatever.
who was the model for Red Sonja.
You want to back out now? Why do you do this to me?
We lost
TCG again?
TCG again. Yeah, she was the
Will you
model
take my
for Red
dog with you
Sonja.
next time? What do you want? You hid from me all day thinking you were getting a BATH, and now you won't leave me alone.
Chewy, Bath, Chewy, Bath.
He's a good boy. He was so weird today. He kept hiding and wanting to like
Overbathing your dog is not healthy for them. You know that, right?
do what?
Overbathing your dog is
Oh
not healthy for them.
yeah. We don't do it uh, enough for it to be considered that, but he was traumatized as a puppy with the whole process. There you go.
Yeah.
The door's open. Go. And he's wagging his tail, looking out there like, but there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. Go get mama.
Oh,
Go get the mama.
aren't you going to get a cigarette? No, he's not allowed to
No,
smoke no more.
I got a
No more
couple
smoke.
days.
No.
I did get my nicotine gum, and
Yeah.
I've timed it down to where a day or two before the 20th, I should run out, and I'll start doing that.
You know what you need to get yourself is a little bracelet with like a capacitor with a discharge thing, and then give me a remote to turn it on and off. So every time I see you going down, just give you a little zap.
Yeah,
Then
that's
you
not
get
gonna
back in
happen.
your fucking room. And I won't abuse it, I promise. But I just test it out a couple of times a day. Make sure it's
What
working.
was? Oh, I was watching. I was watching. I lately I've been getting a lot of shorts on YouTube for a TV show called My Name Is Earl. I never
My
saw
name
it.
is Earl. Yeah, I remember. I watched a good chunk of My Name is Earl.
Okay,
Uh,
it's just like it's
with
drawing me in. I want to watch it because I really love the actress who played Joy. Her
yeah.
voice, her southern accent is just like just spot on, just perfect. Uh, I don't really have a thing for that kind of voice, but it just warms the cockles of my heart,
My name is
reminding
Earl.
me of family that are no longer around, kind of thing, and that whole just fully evil character that she plays, named Joy of all things,
Yeah,
crafting.
fuck that.
But nope. Okay, there he is.
Jamie
And,
Presley.
and I saw the clip today of where she's teaching Randy to stop doing stupid things by slapping him with the rubber band. Do you remember
Yeah,
that? Yeah, I was
yeah.
thinking of that when you said the shock bracelet. No, I'm trust me, I've given up a lot of unhealthy things. I
Uh,
think I got this one. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be a bitch, but you
Jamie
know,
Presley is. I cannot stand the look of her face, though, man.
is that her name?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought it was something else.
Jamie Presley.
Okay, I honestly thought I read her name something different. But
Uh,
she was also funny in Joe Dirt. I'm your sister. That was funny.
yeah.
Uh,
Who did you think it
ooh,
was?
excuse me. Sorry.
I can't. I couldn't tell you the name, but I knew it was like Samantha or something.
Uh,
Maybe that was the
no,
Latina girl that was in the show.
no,
I
that's
just saw.
Nadine Velasquez.
Okay, definitely not that one then.
Uh,
And there he goes again.
oh, Gail Dukes.
But it was funny. It was funny. Uh,
Oh, Samantha Larson was in the show, and she played someone else. She's the old woman.
okay, maybe that's what I saw, and it was just in the wrong place or whatever.
Yeah.
So, okay, hoping that's him again.
Oh, the waitress. Samantha Larson was the waitress. As a diner.
Okay, before you pop out again, crafting, I'll ask you first. Was there anything in this story that you would borrow and throw in one of your games?
I don't think he's there because there's no icon. Are you there?
There,
I'll take the question, and when he comes back again for the
that's
fourth
fine.
time,
Yeah, is there
we'll
anything
ask him.
you'd borrow? To,
Deflate
know,
fucking wizard, man. That shit was freaking grim dark.
that's pretty raw.
Yeah,
I,
she's
I, I,
screaming in agony and my skin, and he's just floating there. He's like, just. Well, I don't think he was in a cage. It was the sorceress that was in the cage at the end.
uh-huh.
Uh, yeah, he was just like kind of floating in midair, if I remember
I thought it was
correctly.
chained up or something, but either
Chain,
way,
yeah,
it
and
was
it's like
cool.
a giant's hand reaches out and puts him on the ground after he gets.
Either way, it was a very striking original image.
Yeah,
Um, I could see doing something like that, but at the same time, like in my games, it would seem like just a little bit too much magic, unless the person was just chained up there.
and I assume the cloak was made from his skin, or was I misreading that? He
No,
needed the
it was made
cloak.
by the mermaids from something else, but I
Okay,
don't know
now
what.
that would have been cool if the wizard that stripped his skin made the cloak from his flesh, and that's why he needed it back.
That would make
That would have
sense
been
at the very least.
fucking dark.
For me, what I liked, and it wasn't quite this, but it inspired me to think. I want to make a dungeon, right? That's by the ocean, and it's only open during high tide or something like that, and you've got to race against time to get
To get
in and get
in,
out before it floods, just
yeah.
by natural, you know, timing, because you could literally dig a place like that over time. Yeah, okay, today we're going to work from 12 to 4 o'clock at high tide, and then we'll stop at 4 because income, the tide will come in. And then tomorrow the hole will still be there. We can start digging some more. Um,
There's this fuck. What's his name? Joe, Stephen King's son. Something King. He has
okay,
a pen name. He wrote a series, a comic book series that was adapted into a Netflix series. I
okay,
think it was Netflix or one of those streaming services, called Lock and Key. Uh, and it's about these keys. There's this house called the Lockwood Estate, and the family moves into it, and it's been in their family for generations since the American Revolutionary War.
okay,
Um, and nearby, there's like this cave, and it's exactly like you described, where it's dug in, and you can only get to it during the tide. And there's a fucking door to like hell down there, and they accidentally open it during the Revolutionary War or whatever,
okay,
and then they seal it, and then there are these keys
My connection is
to
crap,
open
it would
it,
seem.
but each key has a power. Yes, each key has a power, and you can use them to do weird things. Like there's like the dream key, you can use
mhm,
to enter people's dreams. The
okay,
mind key, and like the dark mirror key, and they got to do some shit. It's worth looking into. Watch the TV series. Um,
not all the way.
it was a pretty good adaptation.
Okay,
They changed a few of the keys for some reasons, right? But more to make them look better on camera and
Okay.
to be less expensive and stuff like that. But yeah,
How about you, crafting? Was there anything in this book that you'd steal, borrow, use in one of your games?
Most of it actually, like this is part of the reason why I liked it. It was a good story to steal most everything from. The fact that the witch was distracted, but if you had killed her and it revealed all the demons, you would have been swarmed. That's how I would have played that bit. But the dragon in the cave, I probably would if I had done if I had done the slug, it would have been a much easier fight. It'd been like, oh, what's everyone worried about? Fight, not the actual slugging he had to do with the slug, and then the
yeah.
great dragon. But I liked that bit a bit to a degree.
It's definitely a
I
one
did
or the
catch
other.
just well,
Sorry.
it would be the slug would be a distraction. It wouldn't be a real fight. It'd be like, well, what's
Hmm.
everyone been worried about? We didn't even get hurt by this thing. Not
Yeah.
even a fight, technically.
Well,
Just
you could have
I
just
like leading
picked one
players
of
into a
them,
self
and
sense.
yeah,
I see what you're saying. Pick one species, not both.
yeah, like, it would have been much easier for them. But yeah, sorry for distracting you.
Yeah. Well, and then like Justin said, the filleted part. I like that. That I did we ever get to the favorite scene of this book?
No, not yet.
Well, I'll say right now, the filleted scene is my favorite scene because that just if the rest of the book was that in your face, mind you, as Justin said, it could have been done better. But if it was that in your face, I think it would have been
Better,
better. Yeah, my brain just
much
froze for a
better.
second there. Sorry.
Okay, well let's segue into favorite scene. Justin, do you have a favorite scene?
Um,
Oh, I just put some pictures of the orc.
yeah,
Oh,
I
sorry, I'm
saw them.
making it.
Uh, the orc you were working on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sorry, I'm super
in
excited.
my show's background for the ten people that are in there. Yeah, no, it's like when he wakes up, it's kind of funny, but in a creepy way. Like I'd probably write something like that, but it would go further. um, the like I like the description of the flailed sorcerer, but like once again, he didn't take the obvious route of having the cloak made from his skin, which would have made it more cool. Um, and then a lot of the other stuff just kind of blurs together. It's like the end part where the queen elf chick or whatever the fuck her name
Alpha,
was, Alpha. Yeah, yeah,
which was a dumb name, admittedly.
yeah, yeah. It's like her condescending mockery is like it's half baked, and because the characters aren't really developed, it's not earned. Um, I don't know. I don't really have a favorite scene. It's all just kind of a mediocre tempest to me. Like it's not worth any height to accolade any part to. Right? It's just kind of it's like every bump in the story has been sanded smooth, and any low point has been filled in. So
Okay. For me, one of the things I appreciated or got me curious about the world and stuff was the scene where he was describing all the things in hell that the
all the things.
sorceress had at her beck and call.
Okay, like I would have to go and
It was
look that
toward
up.
the end when he was in her lair. When he had gotten past that magical door, which is kind of cool. You
Do you know what
know,
chapter it was?
no, it was like
It was chapter 4
Chapter
because
four.
chapter
Okay.
5 was like was him receiving his rewards and things like
Yeah,
that.
it's only like 3 or 4 pages in the version we have. Chapter 4.
well, you know how he had to use the cat's paw to get through the door, and then he goes through the door and and he's describing all the weird shit that he's seeing because it's she's got hell at her beck and call kind of thing.
I remember the cat's paw part, but I don't really
It
remember anything after
just the
that.
way he alluded to the powers of the demons and things like that. Uh, that made me think, okay, she's pretty badass. You know what I mean? He could have done more. A fireball or a lightning bolt here or there. Which us D&D players are so used to. But it
Hmm.
was for me. It was a little more subtle, and showing the demons fighting one another and
Yeah.
and piled up and all this other crap. It was just like, well,
Well,
nobody needs that, but okay,
you you know me. I like the magic subtle and dark, right? A lot of tormented nightmares and things like that. Over, I know it's a big part of D&D, but honestly, a game without fireball or any other variation thereof is a thumbs up in my book. Uh,
well, then you should love the game I'm running because I can't count more than one or two fireballs and or lightning bolts that have ever been cast, and we've been playing a year.
yeah, well, that's only because Raven doesn't know what D&D is.
Well,
Otherwise,
and
there
she
would
hasn't
be like
showed up in
fireball, fireball, fireball,
and she and she
No,
fireball.
hasn't
no,
showed up in 6 weeks.
it would be summon
Yeah.
cats, and she'd use cats to kill everything.
Thank God for small
Yes.
favors. No, I'm kidding. Uh, I'm really surprised she hasn't summoned a familiar yet. I can't believe that.
Well, does she know? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's in her spell book and everything. I explained it to
well,
her, and you know, uh,
yeah.
but she'd probably end up getting a toad instead because you got to roll randomly. And I
No,
think,
no, no. What you gotta do is like rewrite her list, so it's just like a list of cats. You got a tabby. You got a lynx. You got a. You know what I mean?
uh-huh.
Yeah. Just
You
like
got a North American short hair.
yeah.
You got a Siamese cat.
Chat GPT, give me a list of 100 cat types and number the list. And then have her, I assume it's on 100
Is there an
or
animal she absolutely hates?
spiders.
So
And raccoons. Well,
you
maybe
should
not
put somewhere
raccoons.
on
I
that
think she
list a
thinks they're
spider
cute. I
cats
don't
or
know,
two.
Raven. Where the hell are you? I sent you
Yeah.
the link before the show. You
Yeah.
could come in here and give us a ration of
Mac
shit.
Thompson's like
Um,
with you, bro.
so I guess the last question. Hey, Mac, how's it going? I don't know if you
Uh,
read the book or not, but we're kind of a consensus. The book's not awful. It's got some good stuff, but it
it,
needs some work. It would be
it's the tapioca of desserts.
I like tapioca.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever
but
even had it. It's
you've
rice
had
pudding,
tapioca.
right?
Yeah, pretty
No,
much. It's like it's a pudding though.
it is a vanilla style pudding. I know that with a
Yeah.
they basically round noodles.
Around noodles. I've never had it with noodles.
Well, it's got little round balls in it.
Yeah, it's called rice crayons.
It is. I
Yeah.
didn't know those were rice. I thought those were little noodles.
How to make tapioca.
So,
Uh,
crafting. Would you recommend this book to anybody?
Maybe it would depend on if I know they're willing to read a okay book.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't recommend this to my parents. They kind of have high standards. Well, then
Okay.
again, they
We
read
can go there.
Aragorn, so I don't know if they actually have that high standards.
Aragorn isn't bad.
I was making a joke because they read Aragorn, Harry Potter, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Is it? Is it
How about
rice?
you, Justin? Would you recommend this one?
Um. Yeah, I guess. Like if they knew what they were getting into, I'd recommend it.
Mhm. See, I wouldn't recommend this to anyone until after they've read Conan, all of them. If you haven't read all the Conans, go back and read Conan. Okay, you're done with Conan. You want something similar? I'd say, okay, then go read Brack the Barbarian by John Jakes. Okay, you're still not done.
Happy
Okay,
over
then go read the Horse Clans. And if you're still itching for some sword and sandals with a blonde beefcake, Conan knockoff, then right on. Now I'm gonna finish reading it. The other 70, 100 pages, whatever it is, of the other two short stories. Maybe it's gonna get really, really, really good.
I doubt it.
Maybe it'll be more of the mediocre-ishness that it is. But
Like it's just it needed more depth, you know,
Mhm.
more life to the world. Like you said, there's what 6 characters in the whole thing. I'm not saying you need more named characters.
but
It's
just
just
people walking around, even
yeah, you
that
definitely
aren't
needed a
that
fucking
aren't nameless,
sidekick.
that aren't nameless, soldiers that are going to die before you
Yeah,
can even ask them, who goes there.
yeah. Um, that's the thing. Like, are there any Conan stories where he's just like on his own for the whole fucking thing?
Yeah.
I you'd have to like that are
Well, I
more
mean,
than one page.
well, what do you mean by on his own?
Well, like in this book, he's given a
Like
mission and then he's by himself, except for when he's like interacting with an adversary or a goal.
I think there are some.
Yeah.
Quite often, though, he did have some friends or people he thought were at least co-conspirators or things like
Yes.
that. He was great when he was hanging out with that black guy Jubal. That was a good
Jewel.
time. Yeah, those that was the
Was
one.
that his name?
Uh huh.
Yeah, I thought.
That was a great character and a great time for
Yeah.
everybody involved. Um,
Okay. Now, I don't know if you guys heard, but Lynch died today.
yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
No idea who that is.
He wrote. He directed Dune.
Yes.
Ah.
Yep.
Well, if you had said Frank Herbert died, I would know who that was.
Yes.
He
Well,
made the original Dune movie.
David Lynch.
And I'm sure he did some other stuff. Nothing comes to
Yeah. He wrote and directed. I believe he
Twin
also
Peaks.
directed. Well, yeah, Twin
Okay, I was
Peaks.
guessing.
Yeah, he was the Twin Peaks guy, and he did a bunch of other stuff. Inland Empire is pretty popular. That's a pretty fun, weird film. Uh, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, David Lynch died. I think OGGM brought it to my attention this morning, but he's been really good about doing like topical things in his community posts.
yeah.
Um, oh, okay. Thanks, Mac.
Yeah. Uh, so if there's anything on the list, yeah, a Razorhead, a Blue Velvet. I could never get into either of those two movies. Razorhead's too fucking weird, and Blue Velvet is just too depressing. Um,
I don't know either of those movies.
yeah, they're more artsy. But if there's anything on the list that's remotely like something David Lynch would have wrote that we could do next, maybe we could hit that up.
I'm about to break out the list.
Mhm.
Sorry, I got my big old package of miniatures from Reaper Miniatures, so I'm kind of basing them and getting them ready for primer tomorrow. Let's pull out the old Dungeon Master's Guide. Was Kothar my pick?
It was Omenhouse, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Or maybe it was yours. I don't remember. think it was someone else. Uh,
Anybody else looking at the list besides me?
I'm
I
looking at the list of
am.
names.
Sorry.
Here we go. Have we done anything by Lord Denzanine? That's an interesting name.
No, we haven't. He's a weirdo. He could be one of the weirdest in the group, other than Lovecraft, but weird for like a different reason. Uh, more of a. I want to say he's more of a poet than anything, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, and he's one of the names I started putting YouTube links to. So um, all of his stuff has links to videos already.
Okay,
Um,
good.
if you are bored at any time, uh, either of you, and you want to like fill in that list and just hit the share link button on the YouTube video and add it underneath their name, like I have there. You'll see them in the Google Docs list that has been shared to both of you.
Okay.
Uh, do so. It would be appreciated. I don't know if you see that, TCG.
I think so. I see a.
Ye-
I went to Google Docs and for that, and it says Appendix N checklist, uh, as listed in the book and general chat page.
Okay, thanks, Doc. One thing that's here, one author that's here, I've
Oh,
always wanted to read. Um, because I don't really, from what Doc says, I'm not in the mood for that. If that is an accurate description, and I totally uh, trust Doc. I have one of his books, and it seemed very much like if you've ever read any of Lovecraft's dream cycles, where everything takes place in an imaginary world in the imaginary character's imagination. It just sounds awful to me. I already know I'm reading fiction. I don't need to be reminded with every word that it's fiction by the
yeah.
author that you're reading fiction. I hate that. That just kills it for me.
The only is like
You're
type
breaking up again.
other people's nightmares and dreams.
Yeah.
There was a show that I once watched that did that. It was a really good show. The character
Oh,
at first he was dealing with such low level creatures it just hurt when he woke up. But after a while he started dealing with creatures so powerful he actually took physical damage if he got wounded in the dream.
what was it called?
I cannot remember. I seen it on what was that? What did Cartoon Network had when they played darker animes late at night?
Adult
Uh,
Swim.
Crap, Adult Swim. No, that's
no,
totally different.
before
That's a whole
the
channel.
no. It originally was a comedy network uh thing,
Oh yeah,
comedy
but
channel.
Adult Swim is a whole channel
Yeah.
now.
Well, it
You're
started out
breaking
as
up
just
again.
a.
Anyway, I seen it during those, and that was so long ago.
Nightmare on Elm Street. No. Now, uh, he's talking about an anime series that used to be on the TVs.
Yeah.
But yes, Nightmare on Elm Street would be
No, that's a
Freddy
different
Krueger.
thing. No, I mean when that was not quite in the same vein as what I was talking about, where Lovecraft's uh, or Dunsany, for my impression of it, was that uh, they're basically telling you about their dreams, knowing that they're dreams, but it really has very little effect on the real world at all. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it comes across, like your 6-year-old nephew telling you about Pokemon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
Yes,
uh,
we covered the entire first Swords and Deviltry, the
yeah.
Grey Mouser, Fafhrd origin stories, and Ilmet and Langmar where they meet, which I thought was is literally one of my favorite, you know, what I would
Yeah.
call hardcore like D&D books. It's D&D is more that than anything else in my opinion. Uh,
The first of the Lord Dunsany audio books are on there, and it's like 7 hours.
okay,
But I would be willing to go look for the next installment in Fafner and Grey Mouser.
uh,
I'm up for that.
okay, I could do that too. Just because it really is. The next book is a whole bunch of short stories like this, but there's like 8 or 12 of them in it. So they're gonna, they're quick, and it's a great book for all of them up until the last one are like that, where they're just all kinds of. It's like reading a comic book. It's like boom 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 boom.
Yeah.
Great, cool story. I can put it down, come back, cool story. You know, with
Um,
just weird D&D kind of shit. You know, um,
what was his name again? The author.
I'm not sure.
For Fafford and
Oh, Fritz Lieber. That's why he was asking.
oh yeah.
But I would be,
I'm looking at the list, not the YouTube.
I'd equally be willing to look at some
Fritz
Fred
Leiber.
Saberhagen, who's supposedly a great writer. Andre Norton. I've always wanted to read the Witch World series, even though um, I read the Wikipedia on it, and I'm like, but still, or one of the other authors
Fritz
we have
Leiber.
yet to cover. Although I
Yeah.
kind of want to wait to do August Derleth in October because it's horror. It's all horror. That's all it is.
Okay.
And
So I'm okay either way. Um, sorry, TCG, we stepped over Lord Dunsany, but
okay.
I mean, unless you really feel like reading something, as Doc puts it, that's dry and very like history.
well, it's there. We can just listen to it, and put it on the background at like 2 times speed or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm not. I didn't have my mindset on anything. It was just the fact that we're paying Dunsany. Well, that's an interesting. And that
Sure,
was my whole thought
sure.
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, it could literally be one of the oldest books on the list.
Yeah.
Um,
So the king of Elfwin's daughter sounds good to me. Like
Yeah,
I have no
I have no
problem
problem
doing
with that.
Saberhagen or what's her name either though. Um,
Andre Norton.
Andre, is it Andre?
That's how it's spelled. It could be Andrea. I don't know. Uh, as long as it's not Ursula K. Le Guin. Just saying.
Is she on the list?
I know she's not, which is surprising,
Yeah.
and I'm not a fan. I
Yeah.
will admit that the Earthsea trilogy had some very good stuff in it, but
Yeah.
uh, fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with Lord Dunsany, and whoever's got a list of something that can guide us further in the pick.
I have the document on thing.
Mhm. On what thing? Google Docs?
Yeah, and there's the little arrow before the check mark that drops down the list of
Is
every
it
book.
okay? Let me go to my Google Docs and see if I have it.
Yeah.
That'll
It's literally called all of the Appendix N.
give me just a second.
Oh.
Did you find the arrows, TCG?
Yeah, I did. I noticed them the first time. I didn't think much of it. I didn't think on. I forget. Arrows usually mean click on me.
Yeah. Yeah, you click on the and if you go to the Lord Dunsany, you'll see how they have the YouTube links under it.
Yeah,
If you can find more YouTube links like that for the other authors or PDF links or anything else like that, just
yeah.
feel free to insert them.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
What,
well.
what the
Here's a book I want to review soon. Black Amazon of Mars.
hell?
What?
Isn't that by the guy we just read last week or last?
Well, that's why I said soon. This is link bracket bracket.
Lay
Rocket
bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
bracket.
it's
Yeah,
not in
yeah.
my Google Docs. Where I will have to go somewhere else to.
There's a
Check to
link.
see if you have it filtered. I'll send it to you. Give me a minute.
Okay, yeah, because I know I've looked at it,
Let's go.
but if I've looked at it, that means I had to have looked at it on Google Docs, but it didn't save or whatever. Which is weird because I have all the other stuff.
Do you have it filtered so it's only the stuff you've written?
No, because
Yeah.
some of your other stuff, some of George's stuff is in there as well, and
Okay.
Crafton's.
Okay.
Interesting. Even the names of Lord Dunsany's books sound like documentaries.
Oh fuck! I just sent you that video again. Uh.
I mean, the only one that sounds like a
Copy.
story is the Sword of the Wellerin and the other stones,
Okay. There you
or
go.
that stores, and the other stores. Nah.
Okay, let me go over to Discord. I'm going to be a little choppy while I do it.
Yeah.
You know why it does that only with Discord?
Who knows? Bad coding.
Okay, I like Lovecraft. Everything he did.
No,
Uh,
God no.
it's on the list. Like
There's no.
there are gaps on the list, right? There are gaps in this list. Just because I threw it together in sleep addled days. Uh,
What the shit?
what?
Oh, my cursor won't turn into a cursor.
Okay.
I got a game like that. If I right click for any reason, the cursor disappears. I have to back out of the game and reload just to be able to
Okay,
see my
there's the
stupid
list of
cursor.
names.
Yeah, and if you see where the checkbox are, just in front of them, there's a little arrow, and if you click on it, a drop down menu will pop out.
Oh, okay. So let's go to.
TCG, I'm gonna send it to you again because the one that's publicly available in Shadow's Discord is non-editable,
Okay.
editable. Because I actually made that mistake when I wrote it the first time as well.
You made it edible the first time?
Yeah. I made it non-edible. You couldn't eat it.
You know what? I'm going to do something different.
What?
Hey, Doc, you're still there, right, bud? Since he's actually
Anonymous
read
raccoon.
some of Lord Dunsany, see if he's got a recommendation of the four that we have in there.
Okay.
See if he's got a
Before the
recommendation.
well, he can't see it. It's the king's elfland daughter. What? The god of Gano, the gods of whatever, time and the gods, and the sword of
Which one
well
would you recommend, Doc? Which one of Lord
Stone.
Dunsany's would you recommend for as a true testament to the Appendix N list of suggested reading? What do you think uh, is the most D&D or gaming like of his stories?
I wish I knew how to set up a poll in YouTube chats.
Well, just a quick thing while we're waiting for that, Justin. Just so you know, if you don't have admin powers for the appendix list, you can't see the YouTube links.
They're not in the one that is publicly available.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
I sent it to you in Discord, the one that you can.
Yeah, just push
Oh,
the
oh
side.
yeah, I have that one open, and then I noticed the YouTube links. It's like, isn't the other one supposed to have those too for people who aren't us?
No, I just haven't updated the one that's.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I've actually been meaning to just delete the one that's publicly available because it's a nuisance having to do both
Uh,
because they're not the same list.
okay.
Uh,
Which one would you recommend, Doc? And also,
yo,
would you like to join us in 2 weeks as we discuss it?
if he doesn't answer, I just say the first one on the list. Uh, they are on the list by release date, so
Well, hold on just a second.
Oh, he's being attacked. You can hear the thumps. No, wait, that's not
No,
being
no,
attacked.
I stubbed my freaking toe this morning, and it's like really hard to walk around on it. I think I might have broken my toe.
Then you might want to go to the doctor.
Nah, I don't really think I broke it. It just hurts like a bitch.
you would actually have that the those are the middle two, Doc.
Oh, here it is. I have. This is weird. I have one that's not on the list. I have the Charwoman's Shadow by Lord Dunsany.
Hmm. Maybe let me go check to see the actual list as written.
Well, Shadow, when you get a chance, check out the
No,
uh,
it just says Dunsany Lord.
huh,
Huh.
check out the
We can add
Reckless
that to
Rants.
the list, Shadow. Sorry, you're saying?
That's all right.
Oh,
Check out the Reckless Rants Discord. I put up the most recent version of my orc.
Oh well, we were just looking
yeah.
for. You've only read the Gods of Pagana
Yeah.
and Time of the Gods, which are the mythological stories. The later ones be maybe more storyish. According to this book, I'm holding up, which you can't see because whatever.
Yeah.
Lord, the Charwoman, excuse me, the Charwoman Shadow on the back. It says perhaps the strangest single influence in the development of fantasy fiction in the present century by L. Sprague de Camp. And then the next one is Dunsany stands dedicated to strange and lovely worlds of fantastic beauty by according to H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
It's the only one I've got of him. It's how many pages is this monster? 215. Maybe a little bit too big for us, but I'm okay. The only reason I recommend this one is because I actually own it, but
Well,
it's not
it's not on
on
the list, but it just says Lord Dunsany on
Appendix
the
N.
actual Appendix N.
Mm-hmm.
I just probably didn't add it to the list because I was getting too fucking tired. Looking up shit. uh,
Yeah, but
when I wrote
if
this.
there's not an audio of it, then I don't want to recommend it either. Just
Um,
because.
I'll tell you, it's probably easy to find Lord Dunsany stuff on YouTube because all the audios I do have are from LibriVox, which means they're in the public domain. So all of his work is probably in the public domain because that guy is from like 18 something.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of that book?
The Charwoman's Shadow.
Charwoman. Uh, Charwoman's Shadow. Yeah, right here. Eight
You got it.
hours. Yeah, I will add this book to the list and the audio as well.
Okay, let's go with that one, just to knock some of his stuff out, and that way also, since Doc hasn't has never read it.
Oh, what the fuck is going on
An
here?
introduction by Lynn Carter.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty weird. And by weird, I mean very steeped in more historical fiction,
Yeah.
which I'm okay with. That way we can say we've done them, and we can kind of. I want to kind of knock out more authors we've never read before going back to someone. As much as I love, uh, some of the things we've already read, I think it would be more fair to the what we're trying to accomplish by reading more authors that we've never read before, and seeing after like say we've read one book from each author, and we get to the end, we could go, yeah, who did we like the most, and who do we want to read more of, or would we rather just go into adding to our own version of Appendix N, because there are clearly a lot of books out there that would be fun to read that aren't on the list, and I'm certain, if they were during, let's say, Gygax and Arneson's life, they probably read them too. It stands to reason that they didn't stop reading in 1979. Fantasy fiction.
Okay, so we're doing the Charwoman's Shadow. I
Yeah,
will put that in the book club group
yeah.
chat, and
I'm
you
gonna write
can
it in here, so Mac.
well, you can copy the link from the thing, and if you want to migrate that to the one in your Discord, you know where to find it. It is now clearly available.
Ellis Practicam, November 27. Okay, thanks, Exnard. He was born in 1907 through November and died November 6th. That's weird. Yeah, no problem.
Uh,
And anybody wants to read this one along with us, feel free. I have a feeling it's not going to be that popular, but he, from everything I've heard over the years, a lot of people, had more than a little respect for him,
mhm.
and I'm curious to see why. Maybe it's just because he was. Uh, Go find the cliff notes. Yeah, we thought about that, but see, part of this Xnar, or I'm just going to call you Prime. Is that cool? Uh, is that I don't know about you guys, but I get a lot of pleasure out of reading for fun. Reading this book, like literally holding the book in my hand with my little light behind me and flipping the pages and all that is something I really still enjoy, especially in
Hmm.
this world where we can get everything at a click of a button and just have people tell us a story or watch a story. I like having to use the skill of reading and enjoying it for what it was. I grew up reading more books than watching movies, as everybody here knows. There's so many of the things that are like so common to this hobby that I'm like, oh, I never saw that. I never saw that.
Yeah.
And
Um. Yeah. I wish I had more literature as a child. I think would have had less problems with it growing
Same.
up.
that's all.
Um.
That's all we had. We didn't have it was this was before the VCR. You know,
Yeah.
I had a huge collection of books. By the time the first
No,
VCR came out and we had it on the
Shadow.
Laserdisc player, yeah.
Don't lie. They weren't books. They were rock slabs.
Yeah.
The
And
tablets. Yeah, I,
it wasn't before the invention of the VCR. It was the invention of the puppet. Don't be lying to us now.
okay. Well,
Nobody had invented cave paintings yet. So
we had
you had to
shadow
read the
puppets.
book.
Believe it or not, shadow puppets were an early invention, way earlier than all the other things. Um,
Yeah. No, nobody had invented those yet. Nobody had invented making funny shapes out of your fingers so it looked like things on the wall.
so for me growing up, science fiction and fantasy came with books first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Awesome, Doc. Awesome. And Doc also says Tolkien was a huge fan. That might be a
yeah,
turnoff for some folks, but uh, I'm curious to read as many different authors, especially since the three of us are also trying to write short stories and novels of our own. I think it behooves us to have and experience as much of that from other people's perspective and the way they did things. This book right here, uh, Kothar the Barbarian, I think every one of us could do a better job at it. If we were tasked with rewriting or writing a 100-page, no more, no less, well, maybe less, but no more, even
I
75 pages, because that's the first story. I think we
yeah.
could do better.
I think the problem with this story is not just that the character has like the best fucking plot armor and that he needs like some accompaniment in like the buddy cop dynamic works so well because it fucking works. The lone wolf story is like the losery story, and he comes off that way just because the talking to himself and the understand you have like a couple of scenes or like a sequence where you're by yourself, but that works better in a story where you're breaking up points of view, right? Like you're following one character here and then another character over there, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't think any of the stories we've done have done. Uh, splitting the party, as it were,
Mhm.
which is like a good writing device to
Huh.
follow different perspectives
Yeah.
and
Well,
sequences of events.
I've uh, I've noticed certain themes, which is if Gary Gygax actually took things off this books, I don't care what anybody says. He did not like players. He did not like characters. He thought characters
Yeah,
should be expendable at the very least.
yeah.
And he
Well,
also, getting back to this point, he also believes splitting the party should be fatal because in every story we've heard so far, there is absolutely no splitting the party.
yeah. Well, like there's no ability to split the party in this book because it's one fucking guy,
Oh yeah.
right? He's given a task. He goes fetches for his fucking thing, and to the statement I made the other day about fetch quests TCG.
Yeah.
Uh, the the point, like the definitive reason why I don't like fetch quests is because they're meaningless. They have no like lasting meaning for your character in video games. They're like, go get this thing and bring it back, and it adds nothing to the story or development of your character, right? It's the side quest, but it's the pointless side quest. You know what I mean? And there are entire games built around fetch quests, like the Final Fantasy multiplayer game, right?
Yeah.
It's just fetch quest after fetch quest after fetch quest. There's nothing else.
It's 2 weeks, Mac.
Yeah, every 2 weeks we meet for the Appendix N.
Yeah, I can't see
Uh,
the chat
Right.
right now. I'm too afraid to reload to try to fix it.
yeah, that's okay. There's nothing really being said. Um,
Yep. Yep.
yeah. Mac just asked when the next book was. So yeah, we'll do. I added. There's probably a shit ton of other Lord Dunsany books that
Probably.
need to go on the list, but fuck it. There's already too many on there.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
and the likelihood that we're going to get to, and if once we've picked one, like I said, going back, whenever it is we've read every author, at least one book, the likelihood that we're going to go back to every author again, uh,
yeah.
I can't give any
There's
sort of
over 200 fucking books on that list, okay? I can
200
guarantee
divided
you.
by 25, 26 episodes a year.
Yeah,
I don't plan on being on the planet long enough to do that in front of the camera. Maybe I'll do it in my leisure time, but I
yeah,
certainly don't think I'm going to be around here another 20 years doing this. If I'm
yeah,
still on YouTube in 20 freaking years, that's because they've created some sort of cybernetic set of lungs, heart, and kidneys.
yeah. There are
You
28
would know,
authors
Shadow.
on the fucking book.
They're what?
There are 28 authors on the list.
Right.
Yeah, and we've crossed off two of them, and that includes Tolkien, who we crossed off before even starting.
We've read more authors than that.
No, but like that we finished everything they've done.
Oh, oh, oh,
And
oh.
that's only because Facing the Frost was the only book by
Gotcha.
John, what's his face?
Belknap? No, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
Belair. Belair.
Okay, I was
I
thinking
don't
of
know.
Belknap
It's got a
Bond.
cross line through it. And the only reason why he only has the one book on the list is because it's specified in Appendix N, right?
Mhm.
So what I did when I created this list was if an author had specified books by their name on the list, that's all that went under their name. And if it was unspecified, it was generally everything fantasy or sci-fi that they wrote before 77, except for in the case of Roger Zelazny. I threw the other uh, Amber books on the list
Mhm.
just because, I copy and pasted the thing from Wikipedia and threw it down there.
And even then, I as much as I love him, I'm gonna have to go back and read the second 5 books one of these days, uh, because I can highly recommend the first 5. They go somewhere, but the next 5 don't seem to like go anywhere. It's
Okay.
kind of weird.
Now,
Maybe I
I
missed that as a kid. You know,
I'm
they're
pretty sure only the first 3 books in the Amber series are from before 77.
I can see that.
Yeah. Like I didn't even put the full Beastmaster series on there for what's her face? Andrea Norton. Only
Oh,
the
okay.
first only the first 2 were written before 77. Uh they're on there.
Yeah,
Uh
it doesn't make any sense to. Well, because the DMG came out in '78 or '79. I
no,
don't really.
77. It came out the
Was '77?
AD&D came out in 1977. That's why I picked that number.
Okay. So
Um
there's no reason to read or add, pull things that prior to that because they weren't uh,
yeah,
inspirational when it came to writing the Dungeon Master's Guide or the
yeah.
Monster Manual or the Player's Handbook, and I'm okay with that. There's obviously stuff that that, that's fantastic and that could
Mhm.
it could add to your game, and we'll get to that if we haven't already, somewhere else
Yeah.
between the three of our shows and things like that. But I really want to be, you know, uh, I want to see what they saw in these books and these
Mhm.
authors to to put them here. If I if I myself was writing a game book and I decided to put an appendix in there, there would be a reason for each and every book, and it might be a little thing, one little paragraph or chapter, but it would be there, and I wouldn't tell anybody what it was in my book. But I would like people to, you know, this is what inspired me. Maybe you'll get a kick out of it too. Maybe you'll find some help in there. Maybe not. But I think that's why, so many game books now do this very thing and have an appendix of, well, here's the books that we grew up reading and got us, to play D&D or helped play D&D, helped us understand the game or the concept of fantasy adventure.
Well, I like the tonal, like the tonal inspiration. It's like uh Morkborg has a list of metal albums you should listen to before getting into
The game.
the vibe of the game, right?
Uh-huh.
Um
Oh, excuse me.
just like fine, just like here are a bunch of metal artists. Just skim their libraries and listen to 4 or 5 songs. You'll get the gist of how you're supposed to play this. Which is cool. I would not mind doing the same thing with Meatloaf's work. Love me some giant bat riding fucking bikers,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, maybe we could pull that
some.
off later on in the year or what have you.
Oh,
Do a music show.
yeah,
I challenged DM James to it, and he probably forgot. But
yeah.
you know, uh, there's some good albums out there, and to be honest, I think depending on, like, say if it was just the three of us, right?
Yeah.
Uh, we could each pick one and review three instead of one in the course of a freaking week or a month or whatever it was, two
For
weeks.
what?
Like this. Like I'll pick a record, album, whatever. You pick one, and Crafton picks one, or whoever's there with us, and we write them
Yeah.
down. And in 2 weeks, we could have listened to all three of them, and then come back and talk about all three of them, or all four, of
Yeah.
them, even all five of them, if that was the case, which is rarely the case lately for the people we have on the show because Thursday's not the greatest of nights,
Yeah. Yeah.
or we
We
just
make
pick
it work.
one, and do that. Although we could do that on your show too, um,
Hmm.
when we're looking for a topic, uh, maybe do it on alternating Wednesday or something like that.
Hmm. I know once we're done the fantasy book, which I'm going to cram tonight, I'm going to do a bunch after the show.
I wrote 10 pages last night, believe it or not.
I wrote 7 pages for another story I'm working on. I want to get done by the end of the week. It's going to be a short one, and I'm going to put it out under my pen name uh, as just like a ebook only.
Which pen name?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, okay, that one, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
It start with
Um,
the M and ends in a DH.
uh, um, yeah. But I think next month we're just gonna do a 1 week challenge. Maybe we'll do two 1 week challenges.
Okay.
So we'll have like 2 full weeks of doing dick all for writing. We'll just like talk about stuff or whatever, or just do normal shows on those weeks. Or I guess like the challenge is introduced 1 week and we talk about it the next kind of thing. But we did talk about veterans of a psychic war.
Right.
Yeah, and then maybe like write a scene or something like that. I'll query a syllabus of writing courses for the second challenge or the first one, but
Okay.
definitely a
I
short.
like the music one.
Yeah,
Writing, there's so many great songs out there. When my generation was playing, music was playing.
yeah,
And because there was, especially in the era, where heavy metal in the '80s was like a definitive thing, and everybody was, not everybody, but a lot of people were trying to get on that bandwagon, of being a metal band for a certain amount of years. It was like the next punk, kind of
yeah.
lifestyle, I guess. I don't know. So many of those songs were literally ballads. They were science fiction or fantasy or horror stories with
And honestly, I think the when it comes to the song challenges, which I expect to do frequently out through the year, ballots will be the best things to draw from. Uh, just advice. You can
well,
give
yeah. I,
us
I mean, there are a
anything
lot
you
of
want, but
there are a lot of catchy songs out there that are meaningless or mindless, I should say. There's no uh, there's no there's no substance to it. Uh, for example, classic song out there, Roy Orbison's "Pretty Woman." Great
yeah.
song, no matter who did it. But how do you write that? There's no story there.
How do you turn that into a 3 to 50 page or whatever, 5 to 50 page short story?
Garage bands,
Right. Yeah. Garage
you
bands.
can't do it.
There
But
there are some.
but you take Veteran of the Psychic Wars, you could go in so many different directions.
Yeah,
You know,
there are so many Meatloaf songs that you can also like do the same thing with. Well, pretty much anything by I think Blue Oyster Cult, Meatloaf.
Yeah, well, I'm
You
pretty sure
know,
whatever Shadow does, it'll be from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
no,
Rocky Horror Picture Show is
no,
pretty good.
no.
No, but basically that challenge will be like I'm gonna pick the first one, so we all get a tone of what it is. Is listen to that song, break it down, and then turn it into like
Believe it or not, I
turn it into
literally
a short story
I
over
literally
a
use
7 day period.
I literally used I want to say about half a dozen Judas Priest albums for my Villains and Vigilantes game because the song titles were like easy to turn into a supervillain.
Yeah,
Jawbreaker, stuff like that. It's just like, okay, yeah, I already got an idea. You know,
yeah,
the whole
and then if that experiment works, the 1 week listen to this song and write it as a story. right? Like take the general beats of it works. We'll write down the list of names of people who want to participate, and I'll do a round robin of you pick the song and then we all write it. Uh, Whenever it comes up to do that again, right? That sounds. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just watching a video from one of my favorite bands called Burning Stuntman.
Hmm.
Oh my god, the video is so brutal. Oh my god, I wasn't expecting that at all. Um, just like, whoa, I'd never seen it before. Yeah, I was going to mention Iron Maiden. They're like the quintessential example. Every one of their songs is a freaking story. It's just like, boom. You got 3 to 5, 7 minutes, whatever it was, and you're getting a little story. Freaking don't miss a word because,
It's an event.
yeah, even though I wasn't a big fan of some of their stuff, you could pick any song and you're like, run with it, except maybe Run to the Hills because I wouldn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Just saying.
Run to the hills. Uh, I don't remember. I know that song. I know that song, but I cannot remember what happens in it.
It's basically, sorry guys,
Yeah. Revving engine. That's what it is. Um.
it's basically uh, colonizing this country and what we did to the Indians
Okay. Yeah.
is it's not pretty. Wouldn't really want to do that one. Um, I have no perspective. Nothing I can add to what they already did. And if you watch the video, you're like, okay, okay, it sucked. There were some bad guys back then. Not really gonna, go
Yeah.
down that road again.
I
For
think
some, for some
it
folks,
was covered by somebody I like.
I think so too. I remember seeing a cover. Might have been a chick band, to be honest, or a chick
Mm,
singer. Um, but they're throughout, especially heavy metal. There was this band called Sarathungal. I don't know if anybody remembers them. They were awful. Oh my god, they had the worst. If you don't like Axl Rose, which you can count me in that list, um, I Sarathungal.
no,
Uh,
no, I don't like Axl Rose.
there's I bought their album because it had Elric on the cover, but Sarathungal is a place from Lord of the Rings, and I'm going, oh shit, these guys must fucking play D&D, must be big into it. They probably were, but I was just like, I put it on, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna play this when I'm really pissed off at my parents and have actual headphones on, listening to something else. Um,
Send me a link later. I wanna know this firsthand.
yeah, it was pretty, it was like heavy metal with the punk attitude in the way they performed. At least that's what I got from it. Mind you, I could only listen to like a couple of tracks, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry I wasted my money on that one, but I'm not sure if Mac's talking about. I've learned to appreciate them more in old age. Maybe there was more to them than I was able to absorb in that short period of time.
Sarah Thungal or Iron Maiden.
Sirdungle
Sirith.
with a C.
You, you're gonna have to send me a link later.
Yeah, if I can find it, I will. Um, just just wasn't what I was hoping. I was hoping for something a little more refined, you know,
Yeah.
Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, bands like that wanted you to understand and absorb what they were laying down.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that song, "Run to the Hills," was it? Was that his actual name?
What do you mean?
The Iron Maiden song.
Yeah, it's called Run to the Hills.
Uh,
Yeah, it should be easy to find.
no, no, I think I thought maybe uh It was covered by another band, but they might just have a song with the same feeling. Um, but totally different. Like I'm thinking of a song by Great Big Sea, but it's not. It's not that song.
Okay.
But it's got that same sort of like
Beat or
feeling,
tempo?
storyline.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think they're natives. I'll find it later and send it to you. That's a totally different type of music, obviously. But
Mhm.
if you ever listen to any of them, you like there's a real sense of joy. So when they got this one morose song, right,
Mhm.
it stands out. But I can't fucking think of the name of it for the life of me, so I'm having trouble finding it on the list of their songs.
Gotcha.
Hmm. Uh,
But yeah, that sounds like fun. There's so many great ones. Red Barchetta comes to mind. Oh my God, that was a great ballad for, giving you the imagery of this story, dystopian future, the whole bit.
hmm. So I'm looking for that song.
No worries.
I gotta stop. We're doing the show. But yeah. The what's her face? The dancing chick, Shadows. The link is in the book club
Okay.
chat for those who are in there. If there are, I can't do it anymore because I gave you that room. But if there are people that aren't coming back, you should probably remove them from it and then make room for other people that want to join
Mhm.
because you can only have 10 members in that group.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Well, Grandma, she's just been having some technical difficulties at home, and I know she'll be back when
mhm.
she gets all that stuff taken care of. I don't know. Dark Knight, I would like him to come
he,
back, but
he,
he's in a completely different time zone, so it makes it probably incredibly difficult.
he's more active than I think Grandma's only ever been on 4 or 5 of these things,
Right.
where he's been on something like half of them.
Hmm.
I don't know. You'd have to count.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're definitely done the main topic.
Yeah, I was actually going to shut her down in just a couple of minutes. Uh,
Hmm.
'Cause I want to get to actually do some writing myself tonight. I did really good
Hmm.
last night. I'm in chapter 3 already, and I'm only at page like 25, which is a
Hmm.
good clip for what I'm trying to accomplish. And I think I'm only going to go to about 30 pages with this one and see what people think of it. And
Fine.
I plan on writing more for it, but I don't want to. Do another 150 page thing. I'd rather go back and refine this one in the Appendix N
Hmm.
book club for people who want to show up regularly and review books and talk about books, um, and do what we're doing now. Uh,
I'm going to put a thing in. I found a video I seen a while ago. I'm gonna put it in the Reckless Rants thing. I want you guys to both watch it.
okay.
Uh,
Yeah, Mac, if you're down, you're always welcome here. Um, Doc as well.
yeah.
Prime, if you want to join us, let me know. Just make sure that every 2 weeks you can be here and do what we're doing, and we usually only talk about the book for about an hour, then we ramble about other stuff. But for me, it's been very helpful. I've gotten to read some authors that I never read before, and it's actually been pretty inspirational in knowing that I can do what they did. At least to some extent.
Yeah.
Some of them were kind of stinkers or products of their time, and I
Trust
like.
me, when we get into the more modern, like, because we're doing that birthday month thing.
Mhm.
Um, when we get into the more modern books, I don't know. It'll be like July before I get my pick, and then Omanal gets his pick the same month, so we might preempt one or the other. I don't know.
No,
Uh,
there's enough time.
yeah,
There's 4 Thursdays minimum in every month, and we'll just maybe try to
do
uh,
them on the alternating week or something. Because
we'll start like the first yeah we'll, the second and fourth week of the month.
yeah,
Make sure it fits.
um, the uh, the the more modern stuff, they tend to be longer books, obviously.
Mhm.
But there's the writing style and quality is it'll give you a sense of some of the critiques I've given you
Mhm.
on like things you should do. Um, much more enjoyable reading. Like it's there's a lot of stuff on these lists that are on the Appendix N list that is just like, did you even think of that? Did you even think of what was happening in this story? Did you take a time to like I keep giving the critique that this feels like a first draft, you know,
Mhm.
with a lot of things, and it's
I think the standards and the genre itself landed itself to being more lax because there wasn't that much of it. Not like there is now. I mean, if you uh, were to categorize or catalog all of the books that qualify from up till the 19 let's say 1970s or 1970 compared to what's come out since then, the number is going to be exponentially larger in a shorter amount of time.
well, science fiction and fantasy are the most common self-published genres. So even out of the crap that's published, right?
Mhm.
I'd still say it's higher quality,
Right.
but nonetheless,
Yeah. I mean, prior to 1970, I doubt you'd find like a thousand books that were published, or authors or however you want to divide it up, compared to
well,
now where
definitely the 50s.
now there's probably tens of thousands.
Yeah, fucking was it like
Figure Mac.
300 a day or whatever. Mm, I don't know.
So we will meet tomorrow on Justin's show at uh, noon avocado time,
3 o'clock
Eastern,
Eastern, real time.
where we will be talking about the stories we've been writing so far for this challenge. That's why I want to get more done. I'd like to get to minimum of page 28 so I can say I wrote 2 pages a day, even though I did more.
Yeah, I've got to get
I,
some stuff
yeah,
done tonight. Uh,
you could play.
I scratched my outline this afternoon. I
Oh, really?
fucking yeah. So I cleared out most of that document, and I kept meaning to get to it all day, but stuff just kept coming up.
Yeah.
But that's why I pulled this thing out. That's was to keep me to task. You know, if I get 60 minutes writing, yeah, that's the 60. When I put it up like this and it's on, it puts a 60-minute timer there, and then when I turn it, it gives me that timer, so I can take that much of break, and then I put another 60 minutes.
I think I only wrote for like 2 or 3 hours last night, but
Yeah,
I knew what I was doing, and got to where I wanted to get to, and
Mhm.
uh, like I said, I don't want to go too far into this particular character's stuff until I get some critiques on it and see where I should go because
Mhm. Well, you know, beginning, middle, and end. That's all you really need. If you pick up the hero's journey, there are plenty of like infographics that you can get of the hero's journey where they show you.
I've watched actually probably half a dozen or more videos on the topic, and
Yeah. Well, it's good to just find like one of those little things where it has the circle
right.
and it just like tells you the steps to follow. Um, if you hit most of those in roughly the right order, you've got a well-rounded story for an action adventure.
Mhm. Although I don't know that my character is actually a hero, to be honest.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
You just like you know.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, I highly recommend you give him a sidekick of some kind.
Yeah, I'll have to do that because there've literally only been two characters in under just about 30 pages. Well, actually, three characters.
Give him a
Do
talking
they?
goat.
Do they? No, don't do not do that. Um, or a donkey or any other fucking four-legged beast, especially a dragon. I liked Aragon, but it was still gay. Uh, were there other characters that they like were there other people that they interacted with besides like named characters
Well,
like shopkeepers
You got to
and
understand. It's a
pedestrians?
story about essentially right now. It's a story about a thief who's breaking into a place by himself. So
Okay.
there there were technically there were four characters. One character said nothing because he was well. I don't want to spoil it, but he's breaking into a place. He's not bringing anybody with him. He's doing the thing, and then he does the thing, and then he gets chased. And there's there's nobody to include in that yet. I will fix that when he's succeeded in getting away with the crime or not.
Okay, so the King Killer Chronicles has the main character living on the streets of a city for a good part. I think it's the King Killer Chronicles. And he also does thievery, but he has a buddy that was his companion at that time, and they're thieving together. So one's like the lookout, and the other one's like picking the locks and things like that. And there's like shenanigans with them running across roofs and stuff like that. Um, so you can still do the thief thing with two characters. Obviously, Faffer and Grey Mouser uh, did some
Bobby and Al.
stealing. What?
Bobby and Al.
Bobby and Al. Yeah, Bobby and Al from our game.
Mhm.
So you can do the duet, and it might be worth like obviously you're still writing, so you can go and like just insert a character and have banter between them if you wanted to. But
Yeah,
make a
later,
note.
later. Definitely,
Yeah.
it seems out of place at this moment. But in the very next chapter, there's going to be more people and more things, and
Well,
so,
I'm telling you this. It's only out of place because it's not there. You could add it in, and it won't be out of place anymore. It will be in its place if you
mhm,
choose to.
mhm.
You are the writer. You are creating the story out of whole cloth. So that is up to how you interpret things. Um, and obviously, if they're talking to each other and get caught, that leads to what you call drama. And as a person telling the story, drama good. Okay. Well.
we'll see you guys tomorrow. If not, have a great weekend.
Yeah.
I got a busy one coming up. It's fun tonight. Crafting. Hope your
Yes.
internet issues are better. And
And we will see you tomorrow.
yeah,
Yep.
I would like to leave the audience with a message, though. There are many people out there that say every single one of you has a Stephen King novel or better in you. I may not say that to you. What I will say to you is you can write better than everyone on the Appendix N list with brain damage.
I don't know about that. There's a couple that I would disagree with, but
And that includes Fitzliber.
Well, I will conclude the night with saying this is a reference to Justin's video. Go to Gulag.
Go to Gulag. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Nappy Trails, folks. See you tomorrow.
Nappy trails, folks.
I said happy.
It sounded like you said nappy.
Yeah.
No, I did not say Nappy Trails. I said happy.
Yeah. Well, it's trails to a nap. We all need a nap. I respect nappy trails.